Hello, my name is Gray,
And my name is Crystal.
and this is Buzz the Asian Beauties, a supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show several times.
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
Both Asian. For today's episode, we are gonna be watching and discussing Season 4, Episode 8, Wishful Thinking, written by Ben Edlund, directed by Robert Singer, which, this episode ends with a zoom in. A zoom in on Sam's face.
Yes.
And I was like, Robert.
There it is.
I know you when I see you. That line from the Song of Achilles that's like, I will know you from the steps of your blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yes.
That's how I feel about Robert Singer and his zooms. I will know you by the zooms of your episodes.
So, I think that Ben Edlund is a terrible person.
This truly was an episode. I would say that. I'm willing to say that.
This was very, very highs and lows of high school football. Like, I feel like I laughed more at this episode than I have for a lot of Supernatural episodes, but like half of those laughs were like, what the fuck? Laughs. And then the rest, I was just so upset.
Yeah. I think the good bits are pretty fucking good, actually. Like, I like the bear. I thought the bear was fucking funny as all hell.
I thought that the way that Dean delivered "We are miserable" in the car was maybe the best thing that's ever happened in this show.
And you know what? I like that when Dean was getting beat up by that kid, he still was like, "I'm gonna help him out."
Yeah.
I thought that was nice. Like, it's an entire shebang.
Yeah, even though I think his help was completely unnecessary, given that kid already turned over all those kids in the truck. Like, him beating up Dean does not add any more to his street cred. Like, he's already maxed out.
For fucking real. But, yeah. This episode is funny when it's funny, and absolutely fucking atrocious when it's not. And it's like, well... what is going on inside your head, Ben Edlund? I mean, it's fine. It's fine to talk about, things that are like, there's a creep, there's a weirdo. He doesn't
belong
he doesn't
here.
want to fit in. Yeah. God, I've been listening to that song so much because I have a friend who plays it all the time when we call. Like,
why?
The creeps, yeah. And sings it too, and I don't know why, but I find it hilarious. So yeah, and it was my first time listening to it 2 days ago, so that's fun. Literally, I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo, I don't belong here.
What the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. It doesn't sound anywhere close to what I thought it would sound like.
What did you think it would sound like?
I thought it would sound more rockish, like louder. Like,
I see.
I'm a creep. But it literally is just a guy with a guitar going, I'm a creep. And I respect that. First of all, what did you know about this episode before going in? My guess is nothing.
Absolutely
and you know what?
Nothing.
Me too. Like, I don't remember this episode at all.
Good.
So, yeah.
It is not an episode.
Well, actually, I do remember the bear. But, like,
Good.
I remember it completely separately from this episode. It was like, it's a different episode. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But the title's a dead giveaway. Like, I saw the title and I was like, okay, I know what this episode is going to be about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was right. So, yay.
Yeah. Okay, let's start the episode.
All right.
Do you have anything to say about the road so far?
The
road so far
Cass
is
in
like
it. Uriel's in it.
Yeah.
It's just
Cass
like
is in it.
Dean remembers what happened in hell, but he's not telling anyone. That's like the whole road so far.
Ooh. Yeah, exactly. Well, then let's start the episode. It starts in a shower. Because of course it does. And it's a woman showering because of course
Because
she
of course
is.
it is.
Yeah. You know what? This scene does not look like a supernatural episode. Like this scene specifically. It looks so weird. Like while watching it, I was like, what an odd thing to do. Like what an odd look to this scene. But yeah, she's a woman showering, she gets out of the shower. And like we see like a boy like going in and out of like visibility. And then
And
like
he's naked.
we see he's naked. We see his footsteps. We see like a hand on the glass of the shower. And then like Candace, who is the woman, starts feeling it and she's like, is anybody there? But of course someone responds. She throws her towel and it lands on a human form that is
Yeah.
invisible behind her, which is the creepiest fucking thing.
It really
And
is.
And then like the guy who, you know, is invisible just goes like, Mrs. Armstrong? So that's weird for a ghost to say, which is, you know, our first hint that this is in
Yep.
fact not a ghost.
Yep.
And that's the end of our teaser.
Yep.
The moment this episode started, I was like, oh,
It's gonna
I don't
be
think
bad.
I'm gonna like it that much. I don't think I'm gonna like it that much.
It's going to be a bad episode. And it was.
Yeah.
It was a bad
It
episode.
was. Yeah.
We cut to the present day. Sam and Dean are in a bar, and like Dean's taken like 3 shots by now, which is relevant, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Sam's pressing Dean about what Uriel said about how, like, you know, he remembers hell and all that shit, and Dean keeps lying and denying it. There's this waiter in this scene who is gay? Like, or
No.
okay, like
Well,
what?
you know what?
What's the...
We never know anyone's sexuality, so I don't know why I said no so vehemently.
Okay, I don't think
No.
that's the... Okay, that's
Happy
not
Pride.
the... Okay, I think that the joke is just that the waiter is over-enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But also, like...
But I like
he's
what he does here.
He's wearing suspenders, like, covered in pins. And I just assumed
Oh.
that makes you gay. Even though none of
Yeah.
the pins were pride pins. Like, if you
Yeah.
have a massive collection of pins, I just assume one of them is a flag, a pride flag.
Are you a pin person?
I have...
And are they pride flags? That's a more important question.
The backing on my rainbow pin broke, so not anymore.
Oh my god, you ungayed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't you have like pronoun pin? Don't you? I think
Oh,
you
yeah,
do.
I do have one, that's true. All my pins go in my backpack, though.
All of mine go to my ID lace, like
Your
the lanyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
looks so cool. I have one pride pin, but it's not like a pride pin. It's like a Star Trek pin, and it says "to proudly go" instead of "to boldly go." And then there's the Enterprise. It's so cute. I love it so much.
It is pretty cute.
Yeah. Well, the waiter, I don't think is gay coded. I think he's
Annoying.
he's trying too hard coded. Which, you know what? Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. I love the thing he does though, where like he's saying like, "Oh, have some dessert," and Sam's like, "No," and then he goes, "Okay, well here's the bill," immediately. Like I think that's so nice, and I wish dining establishments do that more often, where they just print the bill out before you say so.
Yeah. So right, he's trying too hard. He keeps trying to like get them to order more things off the menu, and Dean keeps doing like get a load of this guy faces at Sam, but it's really not relevant to anything. You know, Sam does that thing that like would never fucking work on Dean. Where he says, "Oh, like look me in the eye and tell me you don't remember anything from your time in hell." And like Dean's like, "Okay," and then he looks Sam in the eye and says it.
The thing is, if we're gonna rank the people from Team Free Will who this will work on, we know it won't work on Cass because like Dean did this to Cass. Look me in
Yeah.
the eye and tell me you're not working with Crowley, and it did not work. So we can establish that it will not work with Cass, and it no, it will work on Cass, but it will not work on Dean. Where does Sam lie?
Huh. I feel like Sam can lie well enough. I feel like he could do it.
Yeah. The thing about Sam is, I feel like when he's lying, he like lies so hard he deludes himself into thinking it's the truth.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I
Like,
think I know what you mean.
yeah. And I think it's kind of visible in the way he lied about like the Ruby thing, where it's
Right.
like he's like, yeah, he's lying about the specific thing, but like he's not lying when he says that he thinks he's not doing anything wrong. You know, like that.
Yeah.
So,
And he's not doing anything wrong, but Sam
and
normally
he's right.
would think
He
that he's
was
doing
right.
something wrong, which is, I
Yeah.
guess, the deluding himself bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then also like some like woman in a tight shirt walks by and Dean like does a
Ogles
double
her.
take,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Who give a shit?
Who give a
Um,
shit?
yeah, so Sam starts pulling up potential cases. And then he says that up in Concrete, Washington, there are eyewitness reports of a ghost that's been haunting the showers of a women's health facility. And Dean immediately, like, does a fucking spit
Chokes?
take,
Yeah.
throws money down on the counter, and, like, starts getting up, and he goes, "Women, showers? We gotta save these people." It's not funny. It isn't
It's
funny.
not funny. And it's specifically more unfunny given that ever since we got to Monster Movie, which is a solid couple of episodes ago, there has been this recurring theme of we're doing this to save people, but they're not really. And this, like,
Yeah.
just like Dean being like, oh, let's save the women who are showering. Like, that just exemplifies that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Big fucking sigh. Like, I just don't get it. I think, oh, like, I was listening to the Monster of the Week episode for the episode before this one, and they joke about this one, and they just go, like, does Dean think women don't normally shower? And, like, literally, does Dean think that women don't normally shower?
yeah. Yeah. Dean doesn't believe that women get dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we are at the Chinese restaurant, which is gonna be very relevant. So,
Yeah, it's called Number One Lucky Chins, and underneath it says good things happen to those who eat. But next to it in Mandarin, it just says Qian Da Fu, which just means like, I mean, word by word, it just means money, big fortune. So
for real.
that's not really
For
a
fucking
restaurant
real.
name. Or
Yeah,
sorry,
money,
it's
big
Fu, not
fortune.
Fu. I fucked up on the thing, but you get it.
Yeah. Sam is alone, and by alone, I mean he's not with Dean. He's with someone. It's Candace, the woman from earlier. And he is proclaiming that he is writing a book that is gonna be called Supernatural. Truly a poor name for a book. And you know what? Also a poor name for a TV show. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? But yeah, he's gonna write a book and he's interviewing people who have ghost encounters. And Candace is like, oh, I am so sensitive with this ghost thing. Like, no wonder this ghost tried to haunt me. And basically, what she says is, after what we saw on the trailer, she starts freaking out, and the ghost calls her name, Mrs. Armstrong. Mrs. Armstrong, don't tell my mom. And then she falls down the stairs out of freaking out, and then the ghost helps her get up, which is, very interesting. But yeah, they go to the
Also,
fitness center now. Okay.
like in the background there's like this couple that comes in and like
Oh yeah,
being
yeah,
like
yeah.
really like
Lovey-dovey, yeah.
PDA-ish, lovey-dovey, and like making out, and Sam gets like he like keeps staring at them like he's confused. And we find out later that what
The
is
reason why
supposed
is
to be
because the
happening
guy
here
is
is
ugly.
because
Yeah.
because the girl is supposedly way hotter than the guy. But like,
God,
first,
you've never
the
seen a
guy's
real
an
life
actor.
couple, Sam?
He looks like an actor. Like he's not ugly. Second, that's every heterosexual couple I've ever seen.
Yeah, like, have you never met an actual real life couple, Sam? Like, not, okay, that's a rude thing to say. You know what? I love men and women and everyone else equally. I am, in fact, bisexual. I'm not trying to go here and say that men are ugly, but,
But I mean, it's just especially in like couples with like where both members are straight. Like women
yeah,
usually put a
yeah, for
lot
sure.
more effort into their appearance, and that makes it so that like with the makeup and with the everything, they usually do
Yeah,
look a lot more like conventionally attractive than their partner.
that's
But
true.
yeah, apparently it is just completely unbelievable that this man who is an actor and looks like an actor could snag a woman who
Like,
is like somewhat younger than him and wearing makeup.
I had two trains of thoughts, which is like, I think the vibe they're going for this guy's like incel, right?
Yeah.
And the first one is like, you want me to believe this guy's an incel? He's like, he looks like a guy. Like, he looks fine. But then, obviously there comes the like, I know, of like, that's not the point, like, that's not the point. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, incels come in many shapes and forms.
Yeah.
A lot of them are probably attractive.
Yeah, a lot
It's
of
just,
incels are attractive. They just are also
yeah.
misogynistic, and that is
Yeah,
this
like that's
guy.
not the point. Yeah. Yeah. But like also specifically like I do not believe that no one like cuz he says later that like women treat me like I'm invisible. Like if I saw this guy I'll be like, "Oh, he's cute." Like for
Yeah.
fucking real.
Yeah.
And I understand that I'm not the target audience of this guy, but like bro, someone's going to find you cute. Don't worry about it. Don't
Right.
be
Yeah.
misogynistic about it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so like at least in Love Hard, right? Like the like conceit is like Jimmy O Young's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I had to catfish you because like no women like swipe right on me because I'm so ugly." And
And
I
then he
mean,
was just like holding
and it
access.
was
Yeah.
yeah, at least in that one, right? Like they like refuted that trope by being like, "No, it's just because you look like a murderer and your photo is due to holding an axe." But like no,
You know what? I
Supernatural
don't
plays
believe
this
that either.
completely straight.
No, with Love Heart, I don't believe that either.
Yeah, no, I
I
feel
feel
like
like
people would
women
swipe
love the
on men
thrill.
holding axes.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Women love the thrill. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably just because he lives in a town in, like, bumfuck nowhere and his,
That's true.
location settings are small or whatever.
So, Sam and Dean are just together again. Best bros 4-5 ever. Dean is reading a paper where it says that a man won the lottery. And he's saying that there's no EMF anywhere. And then they start walking, and he's like, I'm pretty disappointed. And Sam says, well, you wanted to save those naked women. And Dean goes, yep, damn right. I wanted to save some naked women. Like, what is happening? What is this?
I mean, the idea is that, like, he'd be able to hook up with, like, multiple grateful damsels in distress after the hunt instead of
Yeah.
just one,
And
right?
we
Like,
have
that's
talked
the
about
implication.
this. We have talked about this since episode 2, I feel. Like, since
Yeah.
episode 2, we have been like, this is something Supernatural does that is weird as fuck. And they're still doing it. And it's season 4, episode 8.
Yeah.
And you know what? They will continue to do it for 5 ever. So,
Yeah. Right, we'd hoped that Cass would eliminate all the pussy from Supernatural
Pussy and
to prevent
Supernatural.
such things. But in every episode where he's not here, guess what happens?
yeah. He literally is the symbol of misogyny that turns into homosexuality. We see like a bunch of kids running, and then like it's like a bunch of kids who are chasing a kid, and they're saying like, oh, get him, the whole thing. And Dean
Yeah.
screams, run, Forrest, run, which is so corny. He's
Yeah.
so corny. He's so fucking corny. Sam's like, nothing's happening here. I don't even know why we're here. And then something starts happening, which is a guy in the corner is screaming about how he saw Bigfoot. And the guard is like, oh, you probably saw a bear. And the guy's like, oh no, I saw Bigfoot. And then Sam and Dean come up to him. Sam brings out his badge. And mind you, they're wearing like Carhartt hoodie type situation, right?
Yeah.
Sam brings out and goes, oh, we're the FBI and we're here for that. And then like the guy goes like, Bigfoot? You're here for Bigfoot? And Sam goes, yeah, we're here for Bigfoot. What is happening?
I don't know.
Anyway, Sam asks, can we see where you saw this Bigfoot? And they go to the Bigfoot area.
They sure do. Also, like, did you mention that, like, Sam specifically said, like, that Candace, like, was crazy or something? I didn't like that. He was very dismissive of her testimony. And I think it's just
he says specifically that cuz like the first report was that this woman got pushed off the staircase by the ghost. So the way he words is like, I think crazy pushed her. And it's like, dude, there obviously was someone there, because like the kind of details she gave was not something you can make up. Like you can't make that shit up. Like a ghost, you fall down the stairs and a ghost helps you up. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
And obscure enough to not be something somebody makes up.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. He's just being dismissive of because she, like, believes that, like, she has an affinity for spirits or whatever. But, like, whatever. Yeah. Like, God forbid women do anything.
God forbid women do anything.
So, they go into the forest and they see these, like, giant footprints. And, Sam goes, that is a big foot. Corny. And they follow the tracks and they get into like this liquor store that got super duper trashed. Dean makes a comment that like the drinks that the Bigfoot was having like were girl drinks.
Yeah. Because he's a fucking asshole. It's like amaretto and Irish cream. Which, you know what? I love an amaretto.
Nice.
Yeah, I know you don't drink, and I don't drink anymore, but when I did, I used to love that shit.
Also, the Bigfoot stole all of the porn in the liquor store. So, that's something. So
Truly something.
After they go outside to discuss a bit, there's like this little girl on a bike, and she's got like the basket full of something, and as she speeds past them, something falls off of the top of her basket, and guess what it is?
It was fucking Busty Asian Beauties. Bab mention! Yay!
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 I get, like, does their prom team just not have enough imagination to come up with more than 2 possible, like, porn franchises in this universe? Like, so there's Busty Asian Beauties, and there's Casa Erotica, and there's nothing else. Yeah. Sick and tired.
What is a porn website that you think would fit into the supernatural verse?
I mean, they don't have a single like kink or bondage like franchise at all. Yeah, I really can't come up with a good pun.
R.I.P.
Sad.
Yeah. I mean, Busty Asian Beauties is not even a good pun.
That's true. Yeah, fine. There's a Shibari one called All Tied Up. The end. Okay.
Yeah. There's a fucking machine one called Fucking Machines. I support that.
So, Dean goes, oh, that girl's a little young for Busty Asian Beauties. And I think what I wrote down was, well, this is a horrible day for me, but at least he didn't make a lesbian joke.
For what?
Well, because it was a girl and she had Busty Asian Beauties.
Oh, well, I would assume that Dean has some semblance of that is a literal child, which, bare
Yeah,
minimum.
yeah,
The bar is literally in hell, and he sure did jump over it because he was there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we see her like drop off all the stolen liquor and porn, like in a box by the store with a note on top of it that says
Mm.
"Sorry." So Sam and Dean follow her
Cute.
home.
Honestly, this kid and the bear is like the highlight of this episode.
Yeah,
They're like such good characters, and the little kid specifically is such a good, like, the actor for this kid is good. And
yes,
like, because usually when we have kids in Supernatural, it's like the Ben situation, right? Where it's like, oh, like, here's a kid that I'm gonna take care of. Or it's like Lilith situation where it's a creepy child.
yeah,
This one, this kid's just a kid, and I
yeah,
love that. Like, she's like, well, something's wrong with my teddy bear. I was like, oh, buddy, many things are wrong with your teddy bear.
yeah, yeah,
And then when she said, like, there's a line here that I thought was so funny. Like, the bear was like, what is the point of anything? And she goes like, so we can have tea parties. And it's
yeah.
like, oh, that's so adorable. This kid is such a good addition to this episode.
I agree. I feel like she acts a little younger than she looks.
What she looks.
But like
Yeah,
Supernatural also has like 30-year-olds playing high schoolers, so like whatever.
that's true.
So they go to this house of this girl named Audrey, and they knock and they ask like, "Are your parents home?" And she goes, "No." And she's so cute.
Yeah.
And Dean is asking if she has seen like a really, really furry, like, and then he trails off a bit because the girl cuts her off and goes like, "Is he in trouble?" And Sam says, "No, we just want to make sure that he's okay." And Audrey says that he is in fact a teddy bear and that she thinks he's sick. And Dean is like, "Oh yeah, because that's amazing. We're teddy bear doctors." And they bring out their badges and they wave it in like a oh look way. And
Well,
like,
they bring out like medical like
yeah, health inspector
badges.
badges, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cute. Like, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking funny as all hell.
It's pretty
Anyway,
funny.
yeah, and so they go inside and look at the teddy bear. And the way they do this scene is so funny. So basically, like, they're outside of the room and like the camera is like looking in. It's like looking at the door. And it's
Mhm.
like Audrey's like, "Okay, I'm gonna open the door now. He's inside, but he's a bit grumpy, so take care of that." And then she opens the door and there's a literal giant fucking teddy bear inside who goes like, "Close the freaking door." And Audrey just like closes the door and all sadly goes, "You see what I mean?" Oh, her bestie Teddy is so upset at the world. So sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
this teddy bear has red eyes, which I think
Yeah.
really adds a lot.
No, but like I feel like a lot of teddy bears have that kind of like red reflective thing inside their eye, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
My
I feel like when they're
I have
fucking giant, it's a little creepier.
it's a little disconcerting, yeah. Okay, so Audrey is out there and she said that she wanted and wished for a teddy that was big, real, and dumb. And she goes, "But he's now sad all the time." And not ouch sad, but ouch in the head sad. Love that. I
Yeah.
love that line. Literally, I'm not ouch sad, I'm ouch in the head sad. Yeah. And she says that the bear says weird stuff and smells like the bus.
Mm.
Yeah. And Dean like says like little girl. And then she goes, "Oh, it's Audrey." She says that she wished like in a wishing well for the teddy to become real. And then Dean like reopens the door and it's Teddy watching the news. And, Teddy's like, "It's a terrible world. Why am I here?" Audrey screams, "For tea parties." And Teddy goes, tea parties? Is that all there is? God, this bear is so fucking depressed. Man, enjoy the fucking tea party. But you know what? There was no visible way for me to die. Like, if I was be immortal for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably be miserable too. Like, I'm sorry, vampires, but I'll probably be miserable too. And you know what? That's probably the plot of a lot of vampire fiction. Is it? I don't consume any. So,
Um, maybe, probably.
maybe. Yeah. Reckoning with the immortality of it all. Ooh. Sam and Dean gather. They're talking to each other. They're contemplating whether they're gonna kill this fucking giant teddy bear. And
Yeah,
Dean is
they
like,
both make really good faces, like the whole
yeah,
time. When Sam is like, "So, should we, should we kill this teddy
kill?
bear?"
Are we gonna kill this teddy bear? It's so good. Yeah.
I was laughing.
Yeah. And then Dean is like, well, we can shoot it or burn it. And then they're like, that's probably not gonna work though. So like, what the fuck? And as we know later, it won't work. And the thing is, the shooting doesn't work, but I feel like the burning would work
It might,
because
yeah, it probably would.
the burning requires like a disintegration of material, but also like, where is the consciousness of this fucking bear? You know?
Right, because it's not in the head.
Not in the head, baby. Maybe this one is one of those bears with like there's like a heart. You know, there's
Yeah,
like
yeah, build a bear.
heart, yeah.
Sam is like, yeah, we can solve this bear and all that, but it's not really the root problem. So, you know. And then they turn around to face Audrey again and they ask, like, where are your parents, Audrey? And she goes, well, they wished to be in Bali, so I guess they're in Bali. When her parents come back later, they're sunburnt to hell and back. And I found that
Yeah.
so funny. I don't know, it was so funny. Like, it's literally
It
just
is
this
pretty
man
funny.
and this woman with like red stripe right across their cheeks and their nose. Sam is trying so his hardest. He's like, well, do you have anyone that like you can stay with? Because like we need to take care of Teddy, and Teddy has lollipop disease, and it's adorable. Like this entire interaction is so fucking funny to me. Like I genuinely think it's fucking hilarious.
It is
Anyway,
pretty funny.
yeah. So they send Audrey to the neighbor, and then they're like, well, where is the wishing well, Audrey? And then they proceed to the wishing well, which is in fact in the Chinese
In the
restaurant.
Chinese restaurant. So we see the boy who was getting bullied by all those kids, like, throw a coin into the fountain and make a wish.
Yeah.
And then Sam and Dean show up.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean decides to test out the wishing well by making a wish himself. And as soon as he tosses the coin in, a delivery guy shows up with a foot-long Italian sub with jalapeno.
Hell yeah.
And Dean's like, okay, yeah, it works. And he starts eating the wish sandwich. And they start talking about other things that are probably the result of the wishes. Like there's a guy who won the lottery in the newspaper. And then the couple from earlier in the restaurant is here still or here again. And Sam points at them and he goes, I'm guessing that was the result of a wish. Which, like,
Why? So
what?
we've talked about it. We've talked about
We've
it. But
talked about it already. But seriously, what?
like, who are you? Like, you know what? I am also a judger, so maybe I shouldn't judge Sam that much. Like the amount of times I've seen a straight couple specifically, and be like, "What the fuck is going on here?" It's for fucking real. So like, I should keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, perhaps,
Yeah.
but, like, I feel like it's one thing to be like, man, I wonder how that happened. Like, versus, like, I bet this is 100% because of the wishing well.
No, for fucking real though. Yeah.
I don't know. They have, like, a small moral debate that, like, makes no sense, but it's just supposed to set up themes of the episode or something, where Dean's like, well, this doesn't seem that bad. Like, let's not stop people's wishes from coming true. But Sam's like, well, this will probably come with a price tag. And then the owner of the restaurant comes over and tells Dean he can't be eating outside food in here. And Dean's like, well, that's because I'm from the health department and you
have
a
rats.
rat infestation. Also there's like a bit where like he takes out the wrong ID first, but then he like feels around in his other pocket and gets his health department fake ID. Good for him.
Yeah.
So, you know, they drain the fountain, everyone gets out. And like the owner of the restaurant like hangs around. I thought he would be more plot relevant, but I think he's just here for humor reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
He's
Where
an
he's just,
accented
like-
Asian man. So like happy
Yeah.
Asian, happy Asian, happy Asian. what?
Right, happy Asian rep. Happy for, well, I mean, this probably gave this actor health insurance for another few months or whatever, so
Hell
that's
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, basically his deal is that he's staying here while they're doing the inspection. He keeps saying, like, oh my god, like, the restaurant's fine, stop it. Oh my god, why are you trying to destroy my fountain, etc., etc. So, yeah, they're not finding too much in the fountain. And then Sam and Dean have a conversation where Dean asks if Sam feels tempted to make a wish. And he says specifically, like, wouldn't you wish yourself back to before it all started so that you could be a big, yuppie lawyer with a nice car and a white picket fence? And he doesn't bring up Jess, who I'd assume would be the main reason Sam would wish for that, but I feel like it would also maybe be rude to bring up Jess unprompted, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is supposed to be like an emotional conversation, so actually it is weird that he didn't bring up Jess.
The thing about Supernatural is they don't treat Jess like a person. They treat Jess like a representation of normal life. Like she's not like she's not a person. She's Sam's girlfriend, which is, you know,
Yeah.
like a different thing. And like it really does show in the way they interact with Sam's character moving forward after that. Like the way it's like, oh, Sam didn't lose an actual person. He lost the opportunity for normalcy. And it's like, okay, we fucking get it.
Right, there's no point where Sam's like, oh, like, I'm sad, like, Jess really liked this song or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
But I mean,
well,
like,
I
Jess
could have been a
really
rich lawyer.
You know what? Jess didn't like this song. Reminds me of this one post that our friend Danica sent us about like how if Succession was bad, it would be just like Supernatural for real. Literally, they should have made, you know, Succession bad, so it could be just like Supernatural for real. And in both shows, both Supernatural and Succession, they should have done a "My Girlfriend Died" and the song that we like is playing situation.
Real.
And the song should be Pretty Woman so that we can put a Doctor Who reference in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's barely a Doctor Who reference. It's a reference to one very short scene in one very mid episode that a certain subset of Doctor Who fans might care about.
And the subset is...
Is me.
Yeah, it's you. You know, I asked...
And everyone else who wants her to fuck that old man. Fine, I'll say it on the podcast.
Yeah, I asked, because I have friends who are into Doctor Who other than you.
Oh, God. Right. I mean, like, and obviously they were all like, ew, no, I don't ship Clara and 12.
They were.
But unfortunately, I think that they should cannibalize each other.
They said to me, well, some people have weird things that they like. And I was like, okay. Well.
The show clearly wants it to happen also, but they want it to happen in different ways than I want it to happen.
Okay, got it. Well, I believe you.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam says that it's too late to go back to our old lives, Dean. I'm not that guy anymore. And Dean asks what he'd wish for then. He goes, what would Sammy wish for? And Sam says, completely deadpan, Lilith's head on a plate. Bloody. And he
Wow.
goes, okay.
Yeah. Fucking cool as shit. What's that painting by Caravaggio? The
Judith and
Holofernes, yeah.
Holofernes?
Yeah. We need a
Yeah,
Sam and Lilith painting that is exactly like Judith and Holofernes.
we do.
Yeah. Have I talked about my Caravaggio face in this
On the
podcast?
podcast? I don't
No,
think so.
I don't think so. Yeah. I'm going fucking through it, guys. I'm also going through a Willwood face. It's a lot. A lot of things are... There are many faces in my life right
Would
now.
you say that it's kind of a lot?
It's like, it literally is some kind of a lot.
I'm trying to have thoughts about this change in Sam, but, like, I don't have thoughts. Like, my only thoughts are, okay, edgelord.
Literally, okay, you fucking edgelord. Like, I don't know. He's a bit corny this episode. He's like, Dean, I want you to talk to me. Oh my god, life is so miserable now, and we can never go back. The point of life is to be miserable. Why am I putting a Donald Trump voice for Sam? What is happening?
I did not hear it like that, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He literally said the point of life is to be miserable. That's what makes us
He
human.
did say that. What
You
was
fucking
that?
Catholic ass. literally, like battling it out with John Constantine in terms of Catholicism.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah, the competitors for most Catholic is Sam Winchester, John Constantine, and Gray Babfod.
Real.
Real.
I think there is a Tumblr poll for that going on right now.
The most
So
Catholic.
far, I think Firestar the Warrior's Cat has won against a priest character in a comic. Is
Love
the
that.
only like sub round that I've seen. I don't know
Yeah.
who else is in the running.
very last round should be whoever wins that poll versus me, I feel.
Yeah.
That's true.
They finally see something that is different, and it's an ancient coin that seems to be basically welded to the bottom of the well. Like they cannot pick it up. So they come back in with a hammer and crowbar, and the owner's like, "Hey, what the fuck? Stop!" And Sam threatens to knock him out / kill him with a crowbar.
No, I don't think so. I think he's threatening like, oh, we will slam you with this law from the health inspector's office.
Oh. Is that what a 4416 is?
44/16? I don't know. I have no idea. I just assumed it was like something. Is 44? What is 44/16? Can we
assumed that
find
it was
one?
I assumed it was like a 44-inch by 16-inch like crowbar or something.
Oh my god! It's a pistol.
Oh my god!
Like I looked up 44/16 weapon, and what showed up is a pistol.
Okay, so he did threaten to kill this random guy.
What the fuck, Sam?
Okay. Well,
Great. You can just say that there's a radioactive fucking coin
Yeah.
in your wishing well. Like, that would work. You need to remove
Yeah.
it. It welded into the bottom of the wishing well because it was radioactive and it melted. And, don't question how
Yeah.
science works. Don't even think about
No,
it, my
but
love.
no, this poor Chinese man is to be killed if he does not let them destroy his restaurant.
Yeah. I love that phrase, by the way. Don't even think about it, my love. Do you know the reference that is from?
No.
It's like a Tumblr ask that says, "What is a chode?" And then the reply is, "Don't even think about it, my love." And I say it constantly. I say that constantly.
Good.
Yeah. Things that have been in my vocabulary around recently is, don't even worry about it, my love. And I have a friend called the Reese,
It's
and
uh-huh.
I call her Reese Darling. I like as like a rhyme to Grease Lightning. I don't even know what's happening, but it's cute.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were gonna talk about It's So Jover.
Oh my god, it literally is fucking Jover. And the thing is, right now we're recording this episode on June 13, 2023, and it has been such an old fucking thing that people say. And this episode is gonna release probably like 3 weeks from now. So like it's gonna be even older when it's released. But it literally is fucking
Yeah.
Jover, you guys. It's Jover.
Grace been saying that a lot, which means that I've been thinking it a lot now too. So
Yeah.
I pass this on to you, listeners. Please
Yeah.
continue the Jover legacy.
Yeah.
The whole like crowbar hammer thing doesn't work on the coin. It breaks the hammer.
Hell yeah.
So they're finally like, okay, this coin is magical. We cannot move it. Dean says that he thinks that it's hoodoo that's protecting the well, but like, I think he's just using that to mean magic
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, I
Because
think
we
so
find
too.
out later that it's a Babylonian coin.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
remember that one time I was like, I think Bella is using hoodoo wrong, and it turns out Dean was using hoodoo wrong this entire fucking time, and I
oh,
just thought I was
it was
unaware.
Mojo, I think.
Oh, it
Or
was
something
Mojo.
like that.
Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah, but yeah, Dean just likes to say words that mean different things than what he wants them to mean.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam does like a tracing of the or like a rubbing of the coin that is like the sloppiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like you cannot see what is on the coin from the rubbing that he did.
One half of that rubbing is empty. Like, there's nothing there. How am I supposed to find... Like, Sam, what are you doing? What is this? What are we?
Like
I have
you
rubbed,
can take
like...
photos on your phone.
I know! I have rubbed leaves in my life that were clearer than this. It was wild.
Yeah. And then he tells Dean, like, you look into this, something just occurred to me, and I have to go.
And you know what? I'm glad he didn't bring Dean here.
Oh, fucking, yeah. I'm really glad. He was like, I've made an executive decision, and I think I am the person to deal with this specific situation.
Yeah. Basically, what he does is he goes to the women's, what they call it? Health facility.
Yeah, with the shower
And then
room.
there's like a woman, she's like in front of the mirror, newly showered, and then Sam comes in, holds the invisible guy by the shoulder, and the guy turns uninvisible. Well, I guess visible. And
Yeah.
and the woman starts screaming, and Sam goes, "Don't worry, ma'am. I'm with the health department." What? This one did also make me laugh out loud. I thought it was so funny. He's literally with the fucking health department. And so, like, Sam confronts this guy. He says, like, you walked up to that wishing well and wish you were invisible so you can spy on women in the shower.
He sounds like so incredulous and judgmental, and on one hand, I found that quite fun, but on the other hand, Ben Edlund, you chose to write that. You can't be like, oh my god, I can't believe you would do that. That's such a stupid fucking thing to do. Who even thought of that? You thought of it, Ben Edlund.
Todd, who is a little kid that was being chased by bullies earlier.
He's now chasing his bullies around.
And then we see Dean kind of like making a like, oh, I'm about to shit face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is about to shit. Go shit, girl. Do you know about that? Go piss, girl.
Yeah, I know about Go Piss
Yeah.
Girl.
You know what? With you, I never know what you know and don't know. Like, you told me that you don't know what the fuck where Jover is from.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I should have never told you where it's from, so you think I just made it up. Like, I just started saying it's Jover for no reason. It literally is
I
Joe
mean,
Weirdo.
Go Piss Girl, like, I've known about it for a long time, but, like, even
Yeah.
if I didn't, of course I would know about it now, given how closely it's tied into Hank Green's, like, coming out but not coming out.
Oh,
It's not a coming out
yeah.
because he was already out before, but, like, this was, like, the thing that made most people know that he's bisexual. So, you know, Sam comes back, and Dean's like, that sandwich fucked me up. The wishes do have a twist. And apparently while he was shitting and pissing, he found out that the coin is a cursed Babylonian coin. And the serpent on it, represents Tiamat, who he says is the Babylonian god of primordial chaos.
Did you fact check
Checked. She's a goddess of the sea, and she represents the chaos of primordial creation. So, a little bit off. Also, I couldn't find anything about coins being religious objects in Babylon, but, like, I also didn't look too hard. But, yeah, he says that, like, some priests were doing, like, black magic and cursed this coin or what? Sure, okay, whatever. And, like, the point of it is to sow the seeds of chaos. And so you put it in a wishing well, and, like, it turns the well into, like, a real wishing well. But the wishes get twisted up. Apparently this coin has, like, killed towns before, because everyone starts, like, coming to get their wishes, and then somehow it causes destruction. And the lore is that whoever made the first wish with
Has to
that
unwish it.
specific well, has to go in, and they're able to take the coin out and reverse every single wish. So that's that. Gray, you want to take this next part?
Well, okay, so the next scene is we are back to Audrey's house, and Teddy first we pan to a blackboard, and it says "Life is meaningless," signed T Bear, and I was like, oh my god, the bear is transgender. And then we pan to the bear, and he's crying with a shotgun in his mouth. And I was like, oh my god, the transgender bear is gonna kill himself. And then he blows his head out, and the way we do it is like we pan aside the way you would for a blood splatter, but there's no blood splatter because, you know, this is a teddy bear. There's a cotton filling splatter, but it pans back to the bear, who is still alive and crying, and the bear screams, "Why?" This scene, I mean, the emotional roller coaster of seeing T-Bear and then seeing said T-Bear with a shotgun in his mouth is truly something.
Yeah, no, I did lose my shit a little at this scene. It was pretty fucking funny. But, like, the brand of humor that's more WTF humor than actually funny, but it is also actually funny. Yeah. I wish they didn't call the bear a bipolar nut job right before this scene happened.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, 10 out of 10, good job.
Yeah. I love that he signed it T-Bear, like, for fucking real. Like, he could have signed it Teddy. You know, that's his name. His name's Teddy. He could have signed it Teddy. But he was like, let's be serious and let's be fucking transgender, baby.
Yeah.
We go back to a motel room where Sam and Dean are staying. And Dean is sleeping and having nightmares. And then, you know, Sam wakes him up. And Dean wakes up and he's like, whoa. And Sam starts confronting him again about how you've been drinking so much, you're having all these nightmares. And he asks, like, you remember hell, don't you? I like the line where he says, like, we're with each other 24/7. I know that something's fucking going on with you. And, you know, Dean asks, like, oh, who gives a shit? And Sam says, I just want the truth. I'm your brother. I just wish you'd talk to me. Which is, you know, since Dean directly responds to that wish later. But for now, he says like, well, careful what you wish for.
Yep.
Yeah. That is the most Roman Roy thing the most Roman Roy voice I've ever done. Careful what you wish for. Anyway,
Yeah.
Sam reveals more of the lore, which is like, not lore, I guess, but like their investigation. So, into who has done the wishes. So we got teddy bear, lottery guy, pervert guy, and like most of that is like from the last 2 weeks. But they can't figure out who wished first because, there's no like actual timeline for that. And Dean is like, well, they announce it on the paper sometimes. And this one goes back a month. And then he points to Wesley Mondale and Miss Hope Lynn Casey, who announced their surprise engagement a month ago. And Sam and Dean are like, yep, this is it.
Yep. And to be clear, that's the couple in the restaurant where supposedly one of them is so ugly. We cut to the house where this couple live, and like Wes is like asleep in an armchair, and like Hope comes in all tradwife like with like a entire roast chicken and like roasted vegetables around. And she's like, oh, hey, honey, like, I thought you might want a snack. Here you go. And, he's like, oh, you didn't have to do that. And she goes, I wanted to. Well, no, I had to. Because I love you more than anything, lover. And then, he seems... The thing is, like, in this scene, he seems way more, like, unaware that he did this and, like, way more like willing to turn her back than he is in like later scenes when Sam and Dean show up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually somewhat sad for this guy right now because I don't know that he's like aware that he did this.
Yeah. Because he could have just literally dropped some random coin and been like, oh, I wish you would love me back. Which is, I think, a normal thing to desire.
Yeah.
That's a normal thing to wish. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, you don't think any of that shit's actually gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, because he seems like he actually cares here, where
about
he like
her,
sits her down and asks like, hey, are you happy?
Which she responds, I love you more than anything too. Which, most normal response.
Yeah. And he goes like, yeah, I know, and I love you too, but that's why I want you to start doing things that like used to make you happy before. And she goes like, yes, Wes, I'll try to be happier. I'll start right away. And when he starts going like, no, that's not what I meant. Like, she starts crying and she goes like, no, please don't be angry with me. I would die. I'd just fucking die. And then as soon as he says that he's not angry, then like that immediately shuts off and she's like, okay, well, let me make it up to you. And she like starts like undoing his belt. It's all very, very creepy, which I think is well done until they do the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Like, you know what? A little bit part of me wishes that the guy was unaware, like...
Yeah.
He didn't wish for it intentionally in a way that, it's like... Because I feel like this dynamic that they had going here in this scene was very interesting and far more interesting than, oh, nobody wants me and like
I'm not gonna take it back, like, oh my god. Yeah,
because like they already have another conflict, which is that the girl, like Casey, doesn't want it to be taken because like she's her name's Hope. Is it her name Casey?
That's her last name or something.
Well, anyway, she doesn't want the wish to be taken back, like, because she was wished to not wish that, Yeah. So, like, there's already conflict there, and the way they do it at the end, where, like the last scene of them. Hello.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, that
last
was
scene,
me making hissing, discontented noises. Sorry.
yeah, the last scene of this like portion of the episode, which is the guy being like, it's okay," and then throwing, and then like getting the wish out. Like that could have
Mm-hmm.
still worked. If that's how you wanted to end it, it could have worked with like just the conflict being Hope being like, "No, don't do this," you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Then Edland.
Yeah.
It's, well, yeah, my main issue with the end is the way that it completely focuses on Wes's feelings. Right? Like,
Yeah.
first we're going like, this guy's a total incel, he sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as, like, he unwishes it, it's like, sad piano music, like, oh no, it's so sad that she doesn't love him anymore. And we don't give a single thought to, like, the absolute horrors that this woman has been through for the past month. And as
Yeah.
soon as I like watched the final scene, I was like, "Wait, who wrote Simon Said?" And it was Ben Edlund. And it's like
Yeah.
the exact same thing to me, where like the end of Simon Said is like the point of it is like, oh, Andy's so sad that like because his twin brother like tried to rape this girl and then tried to get her to commit suicide. She like no longer trusts him because he has similar mind powers, and it's just like sad piano music on Andy's face as she gets taken away. Like, ugh. Like, he sets up, like, these dynamics that could be interesting if you just, like, focused on the woman and her feelings, but he never fucking does it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the door rings, and Sam and Dean come in, and they're pretending to be florists for the weddings, and, like, Hope's really excited about this. And as soon as she runs off, like, to get the folders, you know, Sam and Dean are like, hi, yeah, we're florists and from the health department and FBI and teddy bear doctors. Like, whatever. We just fucking know that you are the one who threw that coin in. They notice that, like, he has a coin collection and one of the coins is missing. And, this was apparently from his grandfather. He pauses a lot. He
Yeah.
goes, my grandfather gave them to me. And I was like, oh, like, is he like an immortal being? Like, they're like his coins. But like, apparently there was no fucking reason for him to pause before saying the word
This guy
grandfather.
was just fully fleshing out this character. In his head, this guy has a complicated relationship with his grandfather. And it was a house MD situation where it's like, is that really my grandfather? Am I actually biologically related to him? You know.
Right. The actor was trying his damnedest, but they just gave him incel.
Yeah.
Hope comes back, and Sam asks how the two of them met. And Hope goes like, oh, it was the best day of my life. It was the funniest thing. Like, we both grew up in this town, but I just never really knew who he was at all. But then one day last month, I just, like, saw him, and it felt like it was the first time. And he was, like, glowing, and I fell in love. And he tells her to leave by asking her to fetch them coffee. And, like, before she goes, she, like, makes out with him for like an uncomfortably long amount of time. Well, it's not even making out. It's like pecking, but like over and over again because he keeps trying to get her to go, but she just keeps doing it. And then while she's getting coffee from the kitchen, she can overhear Sam and Dean as they, reveal the truth, or have Wes reveal the truth. So, yeah, it's a coin from his grandfather. And he brought it back to him and said that it, like, was an actual wish-granting coin. Like, it actually has powers, but no one should ever use it. And then he said that his grandfather was all he had, and after he died, he thought, well, why not give the coin a shot? And, like, wouldn't one's wish right after your grandfather, who's all you had, died, be for your grandfather to come back?
I know. This guy's... But they were like, it's
what was the
okay.
fucking like? I need this girl that I like to comfort me in her skinny makeup arms.
Yeah.
Okay, dude, whatever. And Sam says, okay, well, you have to, like, undo your wish. And, like, if you don't, something bad is going to happen. And then, like, Wes is still like, no, no, no. So Dean sort of, like, flashes him his gun and goes, we really wish you'd come with us. This is a scenario where I'm like, I get it with the gun threatening. Sam in that restaurant, Jesus Christ. This one is also a
Yeah.
bit much too, but like, I get it a bit more.
Yep. So we go to the Impala, where Wes is in the back seat, Sam and Dean are in front, and Wes is just saying like, why does it have to be a bad thing, and all that, and Dean is like,
The
this
thing
town is gonna go insane.
They just go like, oh, like it's bad because all the wishes go bad. Like at no point are they like, you've ruined this woman's life.
No, I mean, there was a point where Sam asked, like, yeah, you're right. Because even that was like, don't you
Yeah,
feel,
you're not having a good relationship because she acts like a robot. It's not like you've ruined her life. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, like you're not getting everything you wanted from this wish.
Yeah. So basically, that's the caliber of the conversation they're having. And Dean, like, the crux of this conversation is Dean being like, you're not supposed to get what you want. Not like this. Nobody is. Sam and Dean start interchanging. Like, basically, Wes says, like, you guys have anything you want because you're attractive. And Sam's like, no, we don't. We don't have anything we want. And, it's a whole situation. Also, they hit something and they're like, what the fuck was that? And it's the invisible guy.
Yeah.
And he, like, it's so funny because the hit was pretty hard, I suppose. But the guy turns visible and he's just going, ouch. Youch.
Owie.
Owie. We do this ouchie, ouchie, yowie. Yowie.
Every episode.
No, but they literally say ouch, youch, owie every episode. And it literally is, he literally, like, for fucking real, he goes, ouch, youch, owie.
Right. And I think the point of that is like, Sam's like, okay, well, I know about you now, so like, don't fucking turn invisible again, you creep. So like, this is like, well, he did it again and he's getting punished by getting run over by the Impala.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dean says more like, people are people because they're miserable bastards because they never really get what they want. And Sam's like, yeah, the moment you get what you want, you get crazy. And it's the whole thing.
Like,
And,
what's happening
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Like, what are they even referencing in their life?
Yeah. Like, when has they ever gotten anything they want?
Right. And they've already, like, they've gone crazy or whatever. Like, there's like no backing for anything that they're saying. Like, on one hand, the message is like, oh, like the wish goes south, like with the food poisoning, so that's why you shouldn't do it. And then it's also like, oh, it causes chaos if like everyone's wishes conflict with each other. And now it's like the argument is now like, you shouldn't get what you want because being miserable is what makes you human. Like, it's just very ideologically confused.
Mm-hmm.
Was Monster Movie a Bedland also? Yes,
I don't know.
it was a
It
Bedland
was?
plus singer. It was a
What
Bedland
the
plus singer.
hell?
This seems to be a Bedland thing. Like, he doesn't know. Like, he tries to make his episodes have a theme, but like, he does a really bad job with it.
Yeah, like, here's the theme, and here's the opposite message presented to you in a way that solidifies the theme in no way whatsoever. Like, okay, dude, great.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay if it's like a completely different thing. Like, here's the theme I'm trying to say, but the episode is doing something far up. Like, no, he's doing the opposite. Like, he's, What is
Yeah.
happening?
I don't know. He's just having them say words.
Literally, here are words, here are actions. Say them, do them.
Are you gonna be that kind of actor?
Yeah. And you know what? I wish they were. I wish they fucking were.
Only the Wes actor was that kind of actor.
Yeah.
He tried.
He did try. Anyway, Wes says like, "Oh, you guys are saying that this town's gonna go insane, but like nothing insane is happening." And then they see that, the little kid Todd, that Todd's his name, right? Like Todd, like locked a bunch of kids into a car and is now flipping it over.
Yeah.
Go, kid. You know what? Like, for me, still up to this day, I like to think I'm a forgiving person.
Yeah.
But every single boy, because usually they are boys, who bullied me when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I still wish for their death and torture. So, like, I get this. And I'm fully in my 20s, so, like, you know, this kid is like 8 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy for him.
Yeah.
He starts like screaming, "Kneel before Todd! Kneel before Todd!" while like flexing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good for him.
Good for him.
Sam and Dean get out of the car. Dean's like, "Okay, I'll deal with the Todd situation. Sam, you get Wes to like the Chinese restaurant to Lucky Chin's and undo all the wishes." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice. Usually Sam like never gets to be like on the side of the main like monster battle near the end of the episode." And you know what? He wasn't.
Not fucking anything. He literally gets lightning to death. They fucking lightninged him to death.
Oh my god. Maybe if they put him inside a bank vault, the lightning wouldn't have hit him. Things to think about. So, you know, Dean talks to Todd and he's like, "Hey, listen, I get it." And Todd goes like, "No, you don't know what it's like. Every day I couldn't stop them and I couldn't do anything." And Dean goes, "Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know what it's like. But you're you and I'm me, so..." Is he really making a "I'm too cool to get bullied" joke in this, like, dire time?
I don't fucking know what he's doing. It's funny. Like,
It
I
could
thought
just
that
be
was
like
what?
a no one can truly like know another
Yeah.
person's experience, but it really, really did read like a "I never got bullied because I'm too cool. Look at me, look at you."
Yeah.
And you know, Dean tries to like, "Great power comes great responsibility," this kid, but midway through his sentence, Todd punches Dean in the chest and sends him flying into some garbage cans. Good for him. Meanwhile, you know, Sam and Wes are outside, and Sam's still trying to convince him, and Wes is going like, "Well, why can't we just get what we want?" And Sam goes, "Because that's life, Wes." And then a fucking, like, cartoon storm cloud appears over Sam, and lightning zaps him to death.
R.I.P. This is where Supernatural ends. Supernatural has in fact ended.
Yeah. Alright, it was really good having all of you be listeners of our podcast. I'm gonna miss doing this every week. Thank you so much to our patrons on our non-existent Patreon.
We do have an existent Ko-fi that you can keep on giving money to past this episode. So there is that.
Yeah. All right, we said that we were gonna mention more in the episodes that there's like actual content on our Ko-fi.
Because
Like,
you know what? People are subscribed to our Ko-fi, but they don't watch any of the shit we put out.
Like, we actually put time into this
Shit we put out. We do have actual exclusive content. Like, go check it out. It's great. Like, it's fine. I think it's funny sometimes.
Yeah, if you like the parts of this podcast where we aren't talking about Supernatural. Like, go to our Ko-fi where we aren't talking about Supernatural.
What's funny is we do have people. Like, we do have people in there, and they just don't watch it. Alright, fucking P. You know, no obligation. You know, it's all for fun. But
I understand if like
do
2 hours
it,
a week
yeah.
is all the time you have for us.
yeah. But, you know, it's fun. Like, we have a Let's Play now where we play a game every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. Yeah. Happy
Yeah.
Pride.
Happy Pride. This is gonna release past Pride.
Oh, for fucking sure. Yeah. Well, happy post-Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's after you're proud and you're ashamed, I guess. That's what post-Pride is.
Yeah. So, you know, Wes goes into the restaurant alone, and Hope is there. She's the one who fucking wished for Sam to get lightning struck.
Yeah.
And she says, like, I had to
her
do
specific
it.
wish. Her specific wish was write this guy out of this story right now. And then they lightning strike Sam. Like, that was at the volition of the wish. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't wish for the lightning strike. She was just like, do whatever you want, powers that be. And the powers that be were like, let's do a cartoon-esque fucking lightning strike on this dude. And you know what? It was a good choice. It was funny as fuck.
Yeah, it was. She goes, I had to do it, didn't I? He was gonna make you wish away our love.
She had to do it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, she sure did. Meanwhile, Dean's like, hey, Todd, I really didn't want to punch a kid, but, like, I gotta. And then he tries, and, like, his hand basically breaks. And then Todd starts choking him out. Back inside the restaurant, you know, Wes is going like, what the fuck, you, like, wished that a man would die? Also, I love how she just wished for Sam to die.
She was like,
right?
I hope they die. And she's so real for that.
Right, she said, I hope they die, not specifying, and God was like, oh yeah, Sam uses they, them singular pronouns. We'll get them.
Yeah, and Dean uses he, him, so, like, doesn't count.
Yeah.
Literally. You know that one like banner is like, do not suck your, like, if your partner is driving, don't give him or her oral. And then they were like, they, them people are safe for fucking real. That's what's happening in this scene.
Yeah, the opposite though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, Hope says, I love you more than anything. And she goes, like, more than me, more than life. Like, please don't hate me. And he hugs her and goes, like, it'll be okay. I'll make it okay. It's gonna be okay. And then he slowly, like, reaches down. Her back is turned to the fountain because of the hug. And he reaches down and takes the coin out. And, you know, Todd releases Dean because he no longer has the power to hold up a grown man. Yeah. Sam undies. Good for him.
Yay! He literally Lazarus rose.
He did Lazarus rise.
But it was not relevant to, like, the major plot, so it doesn't matter. R.I.P. Imagine, like, dying and then going back to life, and it's like everyone's like, okay, who give a shit? That's what happened to Summer right now.
Yeah. Poor dude. Does he even tell Dean that, like, he got fucking murdered?
I died, bro. Yeah.
So, okay, Dean has a scene with Todd where he's like, oh, don't worry, like, I'll save you from the bullies forever. Like, they're not already scared to death of Todd. So they do, like, a little thing
skit,
where Dean pretends that Todd, like, beat him to shit, and he's like, oh my god, no, stop beating me up. And then he tells all the bullies, like, I wouldn't mess with this kid anymore if I were you. And, like, they all look at Todd really scared. Like, he flipped them over in a car. This isn't necessary. They're already scared of him. Dean's added nothing. The only point of this scene is for people to go like, "Oh my god, Dean's such a nice guy." And you know what? It works on you, Gray, but it didn't work on me.
It worked on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're back in the restaurant, and like, you know, the fucking sad piano music starts playing, and Wes is like, "Hope, like, do you remember?" or whatever, and she like looks at him blankly and goes, "Do I know you?" and like walks out. And see, like, my only feeling
My
here is
reaction
just like
was like
total and complete relief that she doesn't remember.
she doesn't remember. Exactly, that's also what I felt. Like, oh, thank God. Like,
thank fucking God. But also, like, unless this wipes the memories of everyone in the town, like, her parents, like, she'll go home and her parents will be like, "Hey, like, what
you were
happened to
engaged
that, like,
with some
that
fuck
guy you were
all,
engaged to, who, like, you, like, did not like at all and then suddenly became engaged to?" Like, she's still going to have a terrible life in, like, a day. But at least for now, she can, like, live
ignorantly
like,
about this. Yeah.
Yeah, like, the camera's all, like, focusing on Wes's, like, sad face. And like,
I think when he gets out of the restaurant, he's crying.
Yeah, and, like, the most annoying thing is that, like, he walks over to Sam, and Sam's making a face of, like, sympathy towards him.
Yeah.
Like, Sam's like, "Oh my god, you poor
give
guy."
a shit?
Like, Ben fucking Edlund.
Yeah.
Ugh. Like, maybe the man didn't have to be king. Like, maybe that wasn't even worth it. Like, maybe, like, if he got fired, we would still have good cast episodes written by somebody else who, like, doesn't hate women. Like, maybe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Yeah, and
now
he gives
we're
Sam the
at
coin back, so, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Now we're at the pier, and we see Audrey walking with her teddy and her teddy with a blown out head.
Yeah.
Her two parents.
It's also,
who
like,
are
tiny
sunburned.
sized now, but she has, like, a bandage on the back, which is quite cute.
Yeah.
I hope she
Her
didn't,
parents...
like, understand what happened to her living teddy bear.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, it left the gun there. So...
Yeah. Her parents are back and they're sunburnt to hell and back. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Dean and Sam are walking. They're just talking about the case, and then Dean goes like, "Stop this. Let's talk." And he says that Sam was right, and he shouldn't have lied, but he does remember everything from hell, from the pit, everything. Sam says, "Tell me about it." And Dean refuses because he won't lie anymore, but he also can't talk about it. And Sam says, like, "You don't have to do this alone. You can have me. You can let me help you." And Dean says, "Nothing is gonna help. Like, this is not just like I had a bad day situation. It was something that I have no words for. You know, like, I can't forget, etc., etc. There's no making it better because it is right here forever." And he points to his head. "You wouldn't understand. I could never make you understand. So I am
Give
sorry."
it a season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you believe that, like, by the time season 6 rolls around, both of them has been to hell an unimaginable length of time.
Yeah. Sam got 200
and then they just don't
years.
talk about it. They just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
I guess,
that.
I mean, he was
Hashtag
soulless.
man.
So,
Yeah.
like, and then after he wasn't soulless, they just didn't
They just also never talk
it.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess being soulless is one way to get therapy.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the episode. What did you think about it? What's your post-episode thoughts?
Oh, well, I mean, we should mention again that it ends with a Robert Singer zoom on Sam's
Oh, yeah, with the
face.
zoom. Hell yeah. You know what? This Robert Singer thing. I know we don't like Robert Singer.
Mm-hmm.
But this Zoom, it's like a treat for me every time. Every time I see it, I'm like, ha! We are watching Supernatural. It's so fun.
Yeah, we sure are.
We sure are fucking watching fucking Supernatural. Well, what are your thoughts about this episode? You know what? I think this is one of those episodes that we have where it's like, when you watch the episode, it's like, who give a shit? But discussing it is actually to the benefit of it. Because now that we've discussed it, I'm like, oh, that was funnier than I thought it was. Or like, there are more insights that I have than originally after I finished the episode when we didn't talk about it. So like, because there are some episodes of this show, of our podcast, where I'm like, this would be a better episode to watch than to hear us talk about. But this one is like, it's better that you listen to this than watch this episode. Like, don't watch this episode. Just listen to us.
Yeah. You can watch clips of this episode.
You can watch
like
the
when
bear
Dean
clips.
says
Yeah.
we are miserable, and also the bear bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like I found it about as funny when I watched it as I find it now talking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I've said all my thoughts. I hate Ben Edlund. The end.
yeah. You know, what's your best line, worst line?
Oh God.
I think my best line is the tea party line. I thought it was
That
so funny.
was
I laughed
pretty
out loud. It
fucking
was so
funny.
fucking funny. Yeah. Like, literally, you're here to do tea parties, Mr. Teddy.
Yeah. Do I have a best line? The tea parties were funny. I think I liked when Sam said, like, Dean, come on, you think I can't see it? Like, I'm with you 24/7. I know something's going on. Because I do think that sometimes Dean does forget that Sam isn't an NPC. And it's nice to be like, they literally are together all the fucking time. And they do understand each other on some level. Worst line, where to start, man? Let's go with the you wanted to save some naked women, damn right I wanted to save some naked women line. But there are plenty of others.
Well, I would say that the naked women line is, for me, that's like the worst line. But to add to that, I would say like the whole like, good looking guys like you've got it so easy because you happen to be handsome. Like, it's bad on multiple levels. It's bad because like the show treats it as like, that's not true, but it's also bad because it's a stupid thing to say in the like, it's like bad in every level imaginable.
Yeah.
Spread those sheets. Misogyny, I would say this is
definitely
at least
there.
a 2. At least a 2, but
I'd say
maybe a 3.
3.
Yeah.
Personally, it was
Yeah.
a lot.
Racism.
God, poor Hope. Racism. Do you remember?
No, I don't think it was particularly
I don't think
racist.
it was racist. Like, yeah.
Which is a win because there is an Asian character in this episode and it wasn't
Yeah.
racist.
Yeah. Homophobia, I don't remember any.
No, yeah, no.
Okay. Great.
Well, there's
All right.
one where they go like, these
Oh.
are girl drinks. This
That's
Bigfoot is
true.
girl drinks. But is that homophobia? I think it is.
It could be homophobia.
Because the thing about like gender related, gender and sexuality related, like,
Yeah.
things, or like they're so intertwined and interconnected. So it like, it's misogyny, but I think it also is homophobia.
All right, I'll give it a 1.
Yeah, give it a 1. Okay, IMDb. I think this is low. I'll say 8.2.
But like, it's quite funny. Also,
It is quite funny.
I'll go a bit higher. I'll say 8.4.
Okay, let's see. It's an 8.6. Who, why, when, and where.
I mean, it is funny. I laughed.
The teddy bear gets a 10. So real. Funny,
Yeah.
funny, funny. How do you not give this episode a 10?
Someone
Well,
said that?
yeah.
Well, because of the issues and problems. This person says my favorite scene is with the boys in Wes and the Impala when he tells them that they have it easy because they are handsome. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's my least favorite scene.
Everyone is just saying that the teddy bear is funny, and it is. So
It is.
they're
It
right.
is very funny.
Yeah.
This season has way more, like, humor episodes
Yeah.
than previous ones. Which I didn't expect out of season 4 at all, because I'm just used to season 4 being, like, Angel Wings aesthetics.
Yeah, towards the end, it will be Angel Wing aesthetic. But anyway, I think that's it for this episode of Bus Asian Beauties. Next week, we'll be discussing season 4, episode 9. I Know What You Did Last Summer!
Fuck
Yes!
yeah, baby! It's been so long since we saw
Yeah.
Ruby. It's been 5 whole episodes.
Yeah, so
Follow us. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. No, I think we say something else. Leave us a rating or
yeah.
review wherever you get your podcast. You know what? Sincerely, leave us a review. If you enjoy this podcast, go to fucking Apple Podcast right now. Leave us
Is this just because
what?
of us guesting on a podcast with way more Apple Podcast reviews than us?
It may be, but it also may not be. Have you considered that?
Okay.
No, but like sincerely though, guys, leave us a. You know what? Here's the thing: if you listen to this episode, and then you listen to this part of the episode, leave a comment that says, integrate the word,
What? What are we doing?
No, like, what is a word that you can integrate into a review? Integrate the word incessant into your review. And I'll see the review and I'll be like, I know you were here. What?
Okay, why
Yeah.
not have a
Why
promo
not?
code specific to this
Yeah.
episode?
Exactly. That's our promo code.
Follow us on social media. We are on Twitter at twitter.com/beautiespodcast and
Well,
on
we're
Tumblr
barely on
at...
Twitter.
Yeah, okay. We are
Should
supposedly
we
on
remove
Twitter.
that? We are supposedly on Twitter, but you know what? We are still there, so follow us.
Yeah, and we're on Tumblr at busasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPOD, BABPod, and thank you to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi, which we plugged incessantly today at
Incessantly. Yeah.
ko-fi.com/busasianbeautiespod. Also check out our merch at babpod.redbubble.com.
Yeah. Email us. busasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. Why do I keep forgetting how this outro works? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. See you guys next time. Bye. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. Side note, I learned recently that this shower setup is common in houses in the United States. Like, the TV shows were in fact not lying.
Wait, what did you think was wrong about the shower setup?
Like, why is there a door?
On the shower?
Yeah.
To keep the water from getting to, like, the rest of the bathroom.
I realized that, like, Filipino showers are called wet showers or, like,
Okay.
wet bathroom. Because, like, we don't have that. And when you take a bath, the entire bathroom is just wet.
Alright, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
love
true
that.
in, like, most of, like, when I visit my relatives in China, that is
Yeah.
true of many of their showers as well.
Yeah. Like, at most, you have a shower curtain, you know? But even
Yeah.
that is, like, we don't have a shower curtain anywhere in the house. So, also, we have a shower. Like, we have a shower head. But I don't use that. I use, like, a tub. Like, I don't know the English. Like, a pail? A pail? Pail.
Okay,
And then, like, a little dipper. I think it's what it's called. It's like, we call it tabo. It's like, just a little, like, a smaller pail basically that you use to get water out of the bigger pail to put it over your body. And I like that better because like I don't have to worry about water pressure that much.
Right, right.
And it's just like a fucking wave of water washing over you, and it's easier to control. Yeah, that's my showering escapades sharing moment. No, but
Thank you
for
for
real,
that.
like, no, but you know, like, there are a lot of things in your life that I feel like people are not aware are a
Yeah.
cultural thing. Like, for me, like, I mean, how would I know that, like, fucking, like, that's not how people shower, you know? Like,
Right,
how would I
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's why the Croatia toothpaste tub prank worked so well.
What's that? What is that?
Oh, like someone on Tumblr said that in Croatia you buy toothpaste in tubs and you get like a little spoon to scrape it out and put it on your toothbrush, and everyone believed them, but like it was all like photoshopped images.
The grift is real and
Yeah.
it's strong. Yeah.
So
So, yeah. You ever do dating website, app, whatever? I think you did Hinge once. You told me
I
this.
did Hinge once, not to get a date, but because I was having a breakdown and I wanted to look
Oh my
at
god, is this the
everyone
one where
else's
you put
profiles.
is this the one where you put Cass as your profile? Is this the
Yes.
one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sure it's an experience in life that we all have, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
catfishing. I stated in my bio that that was
This is
not me, and
Cassiel,
I
yeah.
was just here to look at other people's profiles to feel better about my life.
Oh my god, I remember the other day when I asked you, oh, diba, like last year you dressed up as Cass for Pride. And you were like, that was Halloween. Fuck you. God. It truly was Halloween. And I
It
literally thought it
was.
was Pride. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, well, I've been on a couple dating apps and I absolutely abhor it. And every time I go back, I'm like, this is a horrible time. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're not the target audience. So
yeah,
maybe the people who will find this guy attractive are people like us who vehemently hate dating apps. Have we considered that?
yeah. I guess that's possible.
Yeah. Need to find your audience, dude.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I have like a kid in the house. I have a 7-year-old sister, and
mhm.
um she doesn't like teddy bears, like the actual teddy bears. You know what I mean? Like the fluffy ones. I don't think
Okay.
she likes the bear shape, but
Mhm.
she has like a rabbit and everything. But I'm
Yeah.
bringing this up to say that her favorite teddy bear and her only teddy bear that she likes is one that I made, which is so
Nice.
cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I knitted her one, and it's amazing. I just want to
Congrats.
share this win as a older sibling for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You did win.
I did win at being an older sibling, which is, you know what,
Something that
normal to
is
want.
normal to want and
It
is
is normal
also
to want.
possible to achieve.
That's true.
And Dean failed.
Dean fails at this so miserably. Yeah.
yeah. Well, to be fair, I don't think he ever said like I'm bi like out loud
Okay. Okay.
or like
He
on the
just
writing.
expressed
He
attraction to multiple genders.
Yeah, and he said before like, "Oh, I'm a little bit bi." But you know, like I understand that some people can interpret that as like, "Oh, like a straight guy saying, "Oh, I can be a little bit," you know. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he also has a TikTok once where like they asked or somebody asked like, "Why are you so famous on lesbian TikTok, Hank? You're a straight guy." And then he goes like, well, "First of all, so like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
wow. Go Hank. You know what? I'm coming out as Hank came out, quote unquote, as bisexual, and I'm coming out as someone who likes Hank Green. Let's get it on record.
I mean, his videos about proteins were helpful for me when I was
I
taking
love
biology.
I love the. Oh, I thought you were talking about. I don't know why I thought about this, but he has a video about Metamucil that I really like. I thought was so entertaining and funny, where he basically
About
just
what?
promotes Metamucil. Metamucil is
What
a
is
fiber. It's a fiber supplement, and he's like, everyone
Okay.
should take Metamucil, and I love that. And also specifically,
Like,
I love
he was
Hank
being
Green.
paid to say that?
No, he was not. He was like, I want Metamucil to hire me, but they won't, so I'll just do it myself.
Okay.
Because he believes in the power of Metamucil. I also specifically like one of his videos is called Your Illness is Not Your Fault. And I've showed it to every single person in my life, I feel like. But it's about like how I've told you this, right? Have I?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
have. I feel like it's on a Kofi bonus.
it's we said it in a coffee bonus. Oh my god.
Because we mentioned the Green Brothers when we were, like, talking about books or something on one of
Oh
our
my
earlier
god.
Kofi bonuses.
Yeah, back when it was like an hour long and for no fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, love that video. Go check it out and support your local person with a disability / disorder in your life. Yay!
Yeah. Yay. And that means donating to our Kofi.
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But, you know.
And you are in our listeners' lives.
Yeah.
But, okay, what were we even talking about? Where the fuck are we?
I
Oh,
think we
Dean's
are
shitting himself
yeah.
in the motel.
He's shitting and pissing and standing over a warm bathtub for fucking real.
Yeah.